Yeah. So, evil server gets sent to us from Newegg. He knocks us all out. We reboot, if you will. And, now we're stuck with him. And what really makes me mad is the fact that given his and Allie's history, she can't stay here anymore and has to go stay with her parents. What the hell is that? What the hell is that?
No, there aren't any model numbers on it whatsoever. Yeah, the only thing it says is that it complies with FCC Part 15. Right. What does it look like? It looks evil.
I don't know why they're looking for the RMA. They keep telling me it's something about suspending disbelief.
Seriously. Learn how to operate a frickin' mic.
This episode of Hak5 is brought to you by Audible.com, the internet's leading provider in spoken word entertainment. Get a free audiobook download of your choice when you sign up today. Log on to audible.com/Hak5 for details. Hey, what's up, guys? Got kind of a geeky problem, interesting solution. The thing is, I'm on my way from Williamsburg, Virginia to Washington, D.C. on this road trip, and I'm an idiot and lent evil server my iPod, so I don't have this killer mix that I made. But there's this really cool, fun way that I can get access to any of my music anywhere. And thankfully, because I have such an awesome cell phone and a little cable, I can tether them up, get on the EVDO network, and get access to my music. I know we've talked about this a bit before, Season 1, and a lot of things have changed since then. And one of the sites that I want to take a look at is this place called anywhere.fm. It's basically like a Flash interface that looks very similar to iTunes and lets you, play your music, create playlists, mixes, all that other fun stuff. But what's neat about it is it lets you upload your music from your home computer to their site, and then you can just get access to it anywhere that you have an internet connection. I mean, it's pretty easy to use. If you've used iTunes before, it's the same basic thing. And I find that the performance is actually pretty good. And uploading doesn't take very long, single tracks. You just go through its little upload interface, you select a track, and a few minutes later it's up there. Now, of course, for people like you and I with big music collections, we may want to invest some time into what they have, the iTunes Uploader. It's a little utility. Sorry, unfortunately for right now, it's only for Windows and only for iTunes. But if you're using that, it will connect to your iTunes playlists, and you can choose, what playlists you want to use, and it will just upload your entire collection or whatever you choose up. So I did it the other night, uploaded a whole bunch of fun stuff, and just let it run in the background. Some of the other nifty features include a visualizer that can be toggled full screen or in the corner, and the ability to choose between a couple different skins. Now they've got light color and dark color actual interface, and a whole plethora of different background images that you can choose from. They're just kind of fun to make it a little bit more your own. One of the things that I find most useful is the fact that you can pop it out into its own window and just minimize your previous Firefox or whatever window, and bam, it becomes a nice little addition to whatever your desktop is. Of course, like any Web 2.0 service, anywhere.fm is in beta. However, reading across their FAQ, I found something interesting, and that is that they do plan to eventually support Windows Media Player and Winamp. And of course, right now, unlimited storage. I guess after a while they'll end up charging for premium access. But for right now, definitely give it a spin. And now I can go ahead and get all connected. And as simple as that, I've got access to all of my music that I've uploaded from my home computer. Okay. Hope you guys enjoyed that. I'm going to continue on my trek.
The real problem with being a geek is that it doesn't really offer the opportunity to meet new people in real life. Outside of your university's CS program, it's really hard to find someone to connect with over the box set of Star Trek or over the new release of your favorite Tech TV podcast. You can look at a person and say tall, but you can't look at a person and say geek. It just doesn't work that way. Geek to Geek is an online matchmaking service that caters specifically to geeks and their admirers. If you're interested for more information, go to gk2gk.com. That's gk2gk.com.
So, last month's trivia question was, in Soviet Russia, television watches you, is an example of the Russian reversal, a type of joke popularized by comic Yakov Smirnov. What is the grammatical term for this formula-based cliche coined by Glenn Whitman in 2004? That was correctly answered by Shin Marayu, I think.
Yes.
Shin Marayu?
That would be it.
Woohoo! And the answer is snow clone.
Yes. Woohoo! Snow clones.
Yay, snow clone. Wikipedia.
Lolcats. They
Lol.
speak in snow clones a lot.
Yes, they do.
Yeah. We'll have some links to some fun articles about those.
Anyway, so he's going to get his super dope Hak5 swag bag.
With the stickers and the pins and all the fun stuff.
And all the Hak5 goodness.
So,
This month's trivia question.
all right. In 2004, New York phone freak Decoder was arrested and charged for accessing what hair-straking manufactured test equipment. And mad props if you can send us the default password. This brings it back to the 90s for me.
Yeah, you knew that one.
Oh, yeah. I can't talk about how well I knew that one.
But I know how well he knew.
Yeah. Anyway.
So, send your answers to trivia@hak5.org.
Dave actually expunged it from the record.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's time for another mod segment with me. And this time we're going to be doing power over Ethernet for a WRT54G. Now, here's the WRT54G right here. You know, pretty standard. Everybody's seen it before. 4-port wireless router. And it does not natively support power over Ethernet, but with a pretty awesome forum post that I found, somebody discovered a way to do it using an actual Ethernet cable and the existing power brick. Now, we've got our list of materials, our array of things we're going to need, if you will. Starting off, of course, with what we saw at the beginning, good old trusty soldering iron, some wire. It's good to use the black and the red so you know which way is positive and negative using DC power. Of course, good old solder. Some wire strippers, the router itself, network cable, some kind of cutting instrument, and a good old-fashioned Phillips screwdriver. Can't go wrong with that. Now, basically what we're going to be doing is wiring the existing wall wart, as we so lovingly call it here in Hak5, the DC power inverter that comes with the Linksys router, into the network cable, and then inside of the router we're going to reroute those pins from the network cable over to the DC plug on the back, but all on the main board. You'll never see it. So normally what you do is take this thing apart. Now to take the router apart, you just kind of grab it by the feet here and pull. There's the board right there. Now I've done this already with another one, so we'll set this aside. Try not to break anything like that. So here's the regular main board all by itself, and what we're really going to be interested in is all these little tiny solder points on the bottom here. If we get a close-up of that, if you look over here, here's the 8 pins for the WAN or the internet connection. Here's the 4 ports on the back, and then you see these 3 right here. These are the DC connection on the back there. So what we're going to be interested in is the WAN and these 3 over here. It's really a pretty simple process. What we're going to do is we're going to bridge pins 3 and 4 on the WAN and 7 and 8 because, as most of us know, only 4 pins are used on an Ethernet cable. And if we get another close-up here, you can actually see the traces. If we get really close here, you can see that pins 1 and 2 are used. You can see the traces off of them. Then you get 1, 2, 3. Excuse me, I said 3 and 4. I meant 4 and 5.
Those two right there with no traces attached to them. And then over here on the side, you've got 7 and 8, which also don't have any traces. And that's the same all the way through for all connections. I greatly apologize. I said 3 and 4. It is 4 and 5. And it's really a pretty simple process. What we're going to do first is pull some wire out here, snip it off. Let's make sure we've got plenty of wire here to go from point A to point B. So we'll just kind of eyeball that in there. And that's good right there. Snip that off. Strip it out. And exposed end. Come back over here. And with a steady hand, which hopefully I'll have today, we'll just solder this on right here. And solder this one on right here. Okay, so always in DC power, red means positive, black means negative. So that was our positive terminal. So let's go ahead and get the negative terminal on there. They're going to be on 7 and 8. So we'll just kind of eyeball this back in again. Same process. Pop that. Knock that off. And exposed wire. I'll take my little alligator cheat right here, unclamp that. Get my negative wire situated here. It's about right. And clamp it down. Oops. You stay. Good wire. And back to norm. Oh, it's really freaking hot. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo. Simple as that. No particular rocket science involved in that process right there. And once those are nice and cool, bend them around over here and connect them to our terminals for the DC plug. Bend this one in. Connect to our positive terminal right here. Oh, this is going to be fun. It'll be real fun. And, oops. Just try and clean the tip up a little bit. So, after being a little bit of a pain, simple as that. And that's all we really need to do on the main board here. Not a whole lot of science behind that one. So now what we need to do is go ahead and modify our network cable to make this work. So we'll set this aside. I'm going to come down here towards one end, cut it open with my rusty utility knife. This time on Hak5, Wess gives himself tetanus. Peel it open, expose the wires, everybody's seen them. What we're interested in are the brown wires and the blue wires. That's what we really want. Give ourselves a little working room. There we go. Come in here, separate the brown ones out. Cut these off. And let's go ahead and grab the blue ones too. Because these are the two sets of wires that are actually going to carry our current for us. And that is going to be a pretty simple task as well. Just a little more soldering. That's all it is. Twist those together. That's all we're going to do right there for the moment. So I'm going to reach down here under the table, oh goodness, standard Linksys wall wart. We'll trim out about a foot. Snip that off right there. Now, on this thing, if you look, let's get a nice close-up on this one. One wire's solid black, one wire's black with white stripes. See that? Kind of like your network cables. Solid black, negative, black and white, positive. So you just need to keep track of that. We'll go ahead and strip these off here. There we go. Now you can even look at your network cable here. Now remember, we used 7 and 8 as our negative and 4 and 5 as our positive. So if you look inside the network connector here, you'll see 7 and 8 are both our brown wires. So that means browns on our connection here go to negative. Twist this all together. And blues go to positive. Twist that together. And of course, to secure the connection, we'll sling a little solder on her. There you go. Perfect. A little bit of heat shrink here. Protect our exposed ends. Oh, fire. Fire. A little more fire. Never have too much fire. And we're going to go ahead and package this thing all back together, make it look like nothing ever happened, and wrap this whole thing up. Okay, so here is the finished product, all wrapped up nice and neat and in its original packaging. 2 antennas on the back. Now, you'll see, nothing's plugged into the back here, nothing at all, nothing's on the front. Let's plug in the network cable real quick. Just a single network cable, click, come back to the front, and it's testing. It's got power. It's rocking and rolling. Now, a couple of things that you'll have to make note of when you do this particular project is when you fix your network cable to carry the PoE, you'll have to realize that it's unidirectional. At one point, after it's all said and done, one end absolutely has to go into the router, and then the other end has to go into the network connection. That's it. Now you might ask yourself as to why you might want to do this particular project, and the simple answer is making your life easier later. You might want to stick a wireless router like the WRT54G in an oddballish place like your attic. And if anybody's ever been in an attic before, you know that it's a real pain to work up there, and especially there's no outlets. They don't wire attics for outlets. So it'd be so much easier to run power over the Ethernet cable and run it straight into the router and only have to worry about running one cable. It just makes perfect sense. Now, as always, there'll be a link in the show note to the forum post that this originally came from. There's high-res pictures, step-by-step instructions, and you can always email me, Wess at Hak5.org, if you have any questions.
Why just get a domain name when you can get it all? Register your domain name with GoDaddy.com, the #1 domain registrar worldwide, and get free hosting with a website builder, a free blog, a complete email, and much, much more. Plus, as a fan of Hak5, enter code HAK3, that's hack and the number 3, and get your .com name for just $6.95 a year. Get your piece of the internet at GoDaddy.com. Go GoDaddy!
It's time for the Hak5 LAN Party, powered by EvoLANs.com. Internet gaming has evolved.
Last month we played UT 2004, and I was out of town, so I got my hall pass on that one.
You got your hall pass. I never had a chance to buy the game.
So you don't own it?
No,
is what you're saying?
I don't.
Okay. He doesn't own many games, actually.
Ooh.
All right, sorry.
Anyway, so but I hope everybody had fun and they rocked the server.
Yeah. I don't know if you guys remember, too, it was exactly a year ago on episode 2X02 where I punched the set and got on the happy pills and decided to challenge Wess to a UT99 match. And we finally did that this month.
Yes, we finally did that at the last, it was a Hak5 Live special, completely televised. It was like this crazy sporting event. It was really cool. Go check it out. We're not going to tell you who won.
Yes, but we will tell you that there will be a rematch in
Counter-Strike, the Deathmatch mod.
Soon enough.
And speaking of mods in
Sure.
the Half-Life 2 realm, this month's game is going to be
the Insurgency mod for Half-Life 2. We have links in the show notes to download and install and all that fun stuff. And we will be seeing you in that game
September 8th at 9 o'clock Eastern Daylight Time. It's still Daylight Time, so...
Yes, and that will be directly following Hak5 Live. I think that's episode 8 or 9.
Something
Yeah.
like that. So, hope to see you there.
Hak5live.org for the details on that, and we will see you in-game.
Game.hak5.org.
Joining us once again is our good friend Mubix from room362.com to show us a whole bunch of interesting ways to enumerate things anonymously for you curious types. He's actually not in studio with us, or else I would be shaking his hand. He's joining us via Skype, which in itself is really hacked the way we've got it tied in with the mixing board and the reverse VNC. Anyway, Mubix, thanks for coming on. How are you?
Hey, I'm doing okay. How are
So,
you?
anonymous enumeration is the topic of your latest blog post that should be coming out around the same time as this episode. You want to give us an idea of what that means?
So basically what an enumeration, anonymous enumeration especially, is finding out information about something. Now, why would you want to do this, or why would you want to do it anonymously? Say you get hacked, or you're just running Snort, or something that you find a little tidbit of information, and you want to take it to the next step. You want to learn more, but you don't want to show up on someone else's Snort, for instance. That's what I'm going to show you today.
Okay, cool. So let's look at the first tool. Obviously, a favorite of everybody's, whois.sc.
Yeah, whois.sc. Now, everybody knows how to do a whois somehow, some way.
Right. I used to do them at Network Solutions, but then they implemented a CAPTCHA. And since I found whois.sc, no CAPTCHA,
No going
makes
back.
it a lot faster to look up information.
Right, so the great thing about whois.sc is you can type in the URL right at the top, or the IP address right at the top, hit go, and you get all the information. And again, it's normal whois information.
Right, you can find out, the DNS information that you enter when you create a domain, like the name on the account, and normally there's, a person designated for a technical contact and a company contact for their address and phone number. And of course, we always fill in the correct information because that's the ethical thing to do.
Of course.
Yeah.
So, nothing too big here. It's just a really good source for whois.
Sure.
And enumeration starts at that. So next up, we have the next step in enumeration, where we still have the whois. It's at centralops.net, and they got a lot of good tools, but domain.ca is what we're going to focus on today. And once you click that, you go in and you type in the domain or IP that you're trying. And again, whois information, DNS records, that's a new one. But the cool thing is the server scan. And what the server scan does is it kind of grabs the header information from 4 or 5 different ones.
Right.
So we go down, and the server scan is at the bottom. We've already looked at the whois information. And here's the server scan. Now, if you had FTP and SMTP going on hak5.org, it would pull the header from that and POP3 and IMAP. But all you have running is HTTP, which is your Apache server.
So it looks like this is sort of like Nmap. It's actually doing like a scan for different services running, but it doesn't look like it's doing a complete 65,000 port scan. Though, FTP, SMTP, HTTP, your regular stuff that are on web servers, good to know real quick, especially the header information, because you can tell right on here that we're running PHP version 5.1.6, which you then can then go and find fun exploits for and drop us a little happygram.txt on our root of our web server.
Exactly. So we've taken that to the next step. What's the next step after that? I mean, you have some more information, but you don't really have everything. So serversniff.net is where we go next. Now, they have a lot of good tools. Sometimes I don't ever come off this website. And I'll let you look at each one, like subdomains, it'll enumerate that.
And that's
Hyperlinks
a
on the
brute
page.
force subdomain attack, so
Right.
or not attack, but
Dictionary.
query. A dictionary-based subdomain query. So if you did it on hak5.org, eventually you'd find noob.hak5.org and game.hak5 and wiki and all the other subdomains,
Correct.
even if they're not listed.
Another part is the web server section. It pulls the header just like Central Ops did. Now, new one is page source. It'll grab the source of the website, and you still haven't touched their site. And if you want just hyperlinks or comments, the comments is sometimes pretty interesting. Robots.txt, but we're going to focus on file info. Now, what file info does is it grabs the file, and we've already pulled it up here. It grabs the file, and it supports all these, tons of formats, as you can see on the site. And they suggest less than 3 megs.
Okay.
But once you hit go,
Sure.
It'll give you a hex dump. It'll do all kinds of information on it, including strip strings out and raw text. So we scroll down real quick. We're going to get down here at some point. Where did it go?
So it'll actually take a look at the file information of this URL that you've given it and actually find out, not just, give you the hex sense, but now we get the metadata and other
Correct.
interesting facts that may be, embedded in there. I can find that using like the string search could be interesting on like an executable, if there's comments
Right.
within that compiled executable.
So as you can see down here, we've pulled out all the strings are showing up in the file. And we do have some interesting information here, like the last user who edited it was Pacino. The version of the Word of
The Office
Microsoft
Suite.
Word, the title of the document, Department of Agriculture, some other information in here too. Somewhere in here there's even the information of the last person who edited the
Right, we were looking
document.
at the edit summary of this, so we could see the different revisions that were happening within the organization. Very cool. Now, your last tool that you want to talk about totally blew me away. Now, the website's awesome. Let's go ahead and look at that.
That's my gem. Evolution. It's by Patera. Now, the cool thing about this is it uses transforms, which is how the coder does it. It's different searches. That's all it means, is they're transforms. And you type in an email address or one of these other options.
Like a telephone number or a website.
Right.
And it
you
just
hit
finds
go.
out more information about what you give it?
Correct. It'll do all these searches, again, from the website. It's not actually using your browser for anything. It's doing the searches on the web server. And it'll find the top 30 words according to associated with your email address. Darren Kitchen, Paul Alley, of course, Jen Cutter. You scroll down a little bit, and we have now the actual search results. We have your Flickr site, your MySpace page, your, of course, Hak5.org, and some of the other email addresses associated with your email address, trivia, channel, comment. It'll give you actually the snippets of where it showed up. So, again, this is not the coolest part. They have a GUI. So, now I have to warn you, the GUI actually does do the lookups from your IP address.
Okay.
Because it's not actually hitting the web server and pulling back. So, I already have it installed, and we're going to jump to that. And we've already done a couple searches. And that's done by dragging and dropping one of these options on the right-hand side, and then editing the default that comes up with by double-clicking it, just as I did with the domain,
Okay.
hak5.org.
So we've done a person search on Darren Kitchen and also one on Darren at hak5.org, and I find it amazing that it's found not only my Flickr page, my Amazon profile, my MySpace. It's even found my Facebook.
It did find your Facebook.
And then it found more
some of your
people that are
friends.
like Kate Abram or Veronica Belmont or other people that are my friends on Facebook.
Correct. And
So-
off of that, we could actually start enumerating, convert it to a person, and keep going down that trail. The odd thing is that we did the search on your email address and Darren in Darren Kitchen, and both came up with this odd number. phone number.
12734. It's not my number. I'm kind of interested in what would happen if I called it.
Again, you can follow the cookie trail as far as you want.
Because wherever we go online, if we're not just always giving bogus information, we're leaving little digital breadcrumbs of who we are, and this tool looks like it makes it very easy to find out a whole lot of information about somebody that you might be curious about, or yourself if you're just ego searching or very paranoid about where your stuff is.
A buddy of mine actually just used this recently and found out that his friend had posted his complete information, cell phone number, home address, and everything to Craigslist on his resume. So it can find some interesting information. Well,
once again, Mubix, you have raised my paranoia factor just a little bit more, and I really look forward to seeing the posts on Technocrats. You want to tell us about that new blog that you've started or become part of?
I'm a part of a new blog, a new tech blog, by Franklin Harris and Mike Laz, and all three of us have generated content on Technocrat. That's tech.nocr.at. And what we do is, as it says on my shirt, gadgets, hacking, gaming, geek, and tech. I mean, really, it's like the Engadget of tech, I guess.
Sounds cool. Well, I can't wait to see your article with all of the links where you can find more information, of course, also in our show notes, and do some curious searches yourself. Mubix, if you were here in the studio, I'd shake your hand. I'm just going to say thanks so much for coming on the show and bearing with our VNC Skype crazy mess that we have here.
Hey, no problem. Thanks for having me.
Once again, it's that time where we have to say goodbye, but before we do, there's a couple of things that we need to wrap up.
Yep, first and foremost is the community projects. Sound off, you saw the bumper earlier in the show. We're going to start featuring community projects there every month. This month was the Hak5 comic.
Yes, that's being done by NXT and Famicom Man and a whole bunch of other fun people up on the IRC and the forums. If that's something you're interested in, if you're talented, an illustrator, or just a great sketch artist, you might want to check out the wiki link where you can get involved in the project. And I've been having a lot of fun doing some Illustrator or Inkscape type inking with it. Good stuff.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the first edition or whatever. The first,
that'll be fun.
First volume, if you will. Next is the Text Adventure Programming Challenge, and that kind of ties in with the next one as well. Sort of, kind of,
sure.
But we'll get to that in a minute. And basically what they're doing is they've a small group of the community members has written a text adventure in C. And then they went back and wrote it again in Java.
And now it's your turn to join in and see if you can do it in Whitespace or Lolcode or Pascal, you know?
Yeah, whatever, Perl.
Yeah.
Waka waka bang bang.
Woohoo! And of course, there's a fun new thing ditch into the community. It's bbs.hak5.org. You can telnet to it if you're like, BBS, what is that? Bulletin board system. Kicking it back to the 80s. Old school, making me remember 88, 89. And
it's some of you are going to be like, I've never heard of a bulletin board system before.
Missed out.
You did, I did. I was part of that group that just completely missed out on the whole BBS. Check it out. It's a really cool and unique experience.
Yeah, relive the retroness. And we have some door games. So I've been playing Legend of the Red Dragon. So if you remember that, Seth Abel, Mad Props, get in on that game. It's a lot of fun.
Really easy to get to. Telnet, bbs.hak5.org.
And as always, you can email any of us, Darren, Wess, Ali, Paul, anybody at hak5.org, or just send email to feedback@hak5.org. It may be featured in one of the bumpers, and we love to hear what you think of the show.
And another thing we're going to need your feedback on is Hak5 Radio. It's been relaunched. It's taken off. It's doing a really, really great job as it is thus far. The pre-show before Hak5 Live is awesome. I suggest to anybody check that out. But it's going through a web design, and we need your help. There's a thread in the forums that you can volunteer some time, some PHP code, some CSS, whatever. Maybe a small portfolio of what you've done before. Not necessary, but
yeah. Find the link in the show notes, hit up the forum, and we'd love to see that website get even more prettier.
Yes.
More prettier is good.
More prettier.
So we also have a new sponsor for this episode. We'd like to thank Audible.com because they are helping bring Hak5 to you this month. They are the leading provider of spoken word entertainment. Audible has over 35,000 titles to choose from to be downloaded and played back just like Hak5. So log on to audible.com/Hak5 to get your free audiobook download of choice when you sign up today. Again, go to audible.com/Hak5, for your free audiobook, and we thank them for sponsoring the show.
My recommendation for your free audiobook would be Neil Stephenson's Snow Crash. It's in the series of the cyberpunk genre type deal, and it's it kind of talks about the perception of reality versus virtual reality, humanity's violent nature and physical nature and stuff like that. And
in fact, it's even one of the books that popularized the term avatar.
Yes, it did, to correct ourselves from earlier. Yes. Anyway, so check it out, audible.com/Hak5. Also, another one of our sponsors is DreamHost. As always, excellent web host. You can check them out at dreamhost.com. And if you decide to sign up with them, use coupon code HAK5, HAK5, and get $25 off of your web hosting purchase.
Okay, so that pretty much brings us to the end. Of course, you can find the show notes on the website, hak5.org. And from all of us here at Hak5, we're reminding you,
Trust your technolust.
I was looking at the lights, and I just looked at the lens anyway.
Good job. It's time for the Hak5 LAN Party. As always, damn it!
I didn't think we were going to have bloopers for this episode. Turns out you're a blooper machine. Why do I step back every time I insult you? I'm like, Wes, random insult.
Alright, so this, you pointed at me and I'm thinking and...
Let's go. We will be playing that on...
When are we playing that?
On a date that we were supposed to write down before we did the shoot. So, lower third. We'll see you there. Okay. Hey, listen, I think we may have gotten off on the wrong foot here, and I just want you to know, mad props, you're evil, it's cool, but what do you think? Maybe I can get my iPod back?